By far, and I kidded about it at the start of the show, by what I think is the most interesting pairing of two people in this race. How do you play against each other? You know, what is your strengths and what are Greg's strengths, Bruce? What do you bring to the table? What does he bring to the table? And you mentioned the legislative, but expand on that a little bit.
You know, I have a public service bit in my background because I spent 4 years. I still look at it as probably the most meaningful experience of my life. But in all sincerity, I'm a private sector guy. I think most people would see that. Greg is a public sector, public servant, has been for 27 years. I think that we bring ideas together that 1 + 1 = 3. And you know, I will say this, I do believe that there are a lot of people that are in government who are concerned about this ticket because they're protecting their turf to a great extent like a lion protects its cub. And I think they see us as two people who will ask questions why rather than, you know, ask, you know, why not rather than why. I think they see us as two guys who will shake up the system a little bit. And I think change is coming. Whether we implement it or somebody else, somebody's going to implement change in the next 10 years or the state can't operate without health care and without pension reform.
Bruce, you guys are doing something unique. You know, there's a lot of technology in the races now. And talk a little bit about that, but also you're going to hold barbecues around the state?
Yes.
It's a great idea.
We kicked it off last night.
Yeah.
And we thought we'd have maybe 75 people. We wound up having 172 people. Right. It was one of the most engaging experiences of my life. We had an hour and a half of questions. Not mean-spirited, you know, no attack. These were questions about concerns. And I'll tell you what it showed me.
Announcement yesterday, I believe, about kids.
Yes.
Of how you want to talk about that.
Well, it's called, you know, essentially the other thing that I'm really focused on in addition to health care is I think, and this is the difference between long-range approach and short-term gratification. You know, my dad told me when my oldest daughter was born that you won't know for 21 years what kind of job you do. I want to focus on the birth to 5-year-old child and get them ready for this fast-moving society we have. And I won't get to claim the results of that in my administration, but we could claim it, you know, 21 years later or 20 years later if it works. And part of this Children's Cabinet idea is to bring all the major leaders in state government together with advocates to say, cross all this bureaucracy. Kids are not blocks on an organization chart. Cross the bureaucracies, get in a hurry. And one thing about entrepreneurs, and I know you know many of them, especially the ones I know up here, they have sense of urgency in everything they do. Get to the finish line. And that's what I want to see the state do. Get our kids better, give them opportunities to be healthy and get educated, and improve our health care system. Everything else, a lot of other things will have a domino effect.